what y'all talking about. I couldn't disagree more. As far as the accountability, blame it on me. I'll take it all. Nobody even knew it was happening. I did it. Yell and scream at me. But y'all are critiquing silence, and I prefer it that way.
All right.
Understood. I was just making sure that the
I,
young lady
I
knew
even I
that
even got
she
a
had an
problem.
opinion. She had an
I even
opinion.
got a problem with the word silence being used because it speaks to the instant gratification that some of y'all are looking for. It's not silence because it didn't come out on an episode where you read some timestamps. That's not what silence is. Silence is quiet on the subject all the way through, regardless. Not saying a word about it. There's no silence. You niggas is overreacting, but I'm enjoying it and it's
Well,
entertaining.
no, I'm not
And
overreacting.
for your damage control point, the next time y'all complaining about some shit, I'll go enjoy my fucking day. What are y'all talking about?
See, but that's the thing. I get it, and I know there's a lot of impassion, and at the end of the day, Joe, I fucks with you, but at the end of the day, I couldn't care nothing about none of that because at the end of the day, reality is being held to the fire does not mean that you did something with this malicious intent. All I'm saying is at the end of the day, if there is something that comes out, we have been a part of pods where the pod has paused or it was not determined to come out or there was some sort of a notification about something happening that it couldn't come out. All I'm saying is if it was covered and it was edited, that's your decision. No one is saying that that's wrong. All I'm saying is the chain of events that ended up happening then was it didn't come out. There's a edit error, and then there was a reaction. There was a determination. Then there was a discussion. So it's like, okay, so we could have had these discussions yesterday. It just probably was poor timing or whatever it was. I don't think this is a blame game. I don't think it's none of that. But it is okay to feel as someone who essentially lives and breathes this information that you guys put out. It's okay to be like, nah, I don't like that. We don't like that. There is something about the way that this was managed. It doesn't feel that it was managed right. Whether the silence is talking about timing, I don't care about a quick response. But if we're going to talk about a response at all, I would have never expected you to respond to nothing on those spaces. If anything, because I'm like, Joe, don't play with this shit. And you going to sit and talk about it on spaces? I like, all right, so what are we doing? Like, are
Jermaine,
we trying to appease us now?
I,
So is that an appeasing to us? Or is that
uh,
okay, can we hold you accountable? Like, we're not attacking. I'm not attacking. I'm just saying, as a woman that has watched this, that understands your story, that has heard your story from your own mouth, that has watched these things occur, that have seen other people experience these things as well, to hear from someone that stands 10 toes about the he don't fuck with that and don't support it. There's nothing wrong with saying you should have said something or I would have loved to hear you say something because you understand this. Now, whether it was perfect, I'm not looking for you. I don't think anybody's looking for perfection. But then the response is like, well, damn, on spaces. Oh, so we are talking about it, but why not? There's questions. And I don't think that is wrong. And no one should feel attacked because someone is saying, as someone who spends my money to be a part of something that I love and to contribute to something that I love, it's not a problem for me to say, damn, I wish this was handled differently. And my conversation with other people is stop giving excuses to things you know nothing about.
I think that one, Jonah, I fuck with you. So we can have a healthy
Yeah, I
debate
know you
and it would
do.
just be a healthy debate. We could
Absolutely.
disagree. This is not, I don't take any of this personally.
Right.
Uh, for starters, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that I addressed anything on Spaces yesterday. I even look at that differently than you.
Okay.
Whatever I said on Spaces is very different from whatever I will have to say on the pod.
Mm-hmm.
That Spaces was for y'all to get your shit off, for me to tell y'all what happened. It ain't what
Mm-hmm.
happened for me is just real simple. It's simple. Me telling it to y'all was simple. What y'all are deciding to do with that is totally on y'all.
Right.
Three, right? I get a lot of y'all have like a fan point of view, right? Like I heard you earlier say, what is there to think about? You see this video, you see it, and it's fucked up, and that's it. What is there
Mm-hmm.
to? I heard you say that,
Yeah.
but it's not just fans that are listening to the finished product. This is a industry wide call out that will be happening Wednesday. This is not just what y'all are listening to and thinking about and feeling. For me, there were no ramifications from taking out the fucking 7 minutes that were in there. There
Mm-hmm.
were no ramifications for everybody being in a great, healthy mood on a Friday and enjoying that vibe and having to stop and switch your whole fucking feeling palette.
Right.
I heard you say you listened to the podcast. They wasn't really talking about shit. Yeah, but for me and for the people that was in the room, that was important.
Yeah.
People
I
were
enjoyed the pod
pe-
now. I ain't gonna
people
hold you, but
people
yes.
were feeling good, Jonay, is my
Yeah.
point.
I
That's
get
just one of the reasons why it wasn't about what the fans would think. It wasn't
mm-hmm.
about hiding and all of these narratives y'all are coming up with. I'm not trying to manipulate none of y'all. Please have your own thoughts. But no, no. Coming back Wednesday when you know, and Wednesday is the pod for that too,
Mm-hmm.
if I have to choose. But yeah, coming back Wednesday, well thought out as a cast, as a crew, as a team. Everybody's reaction to that is different. Like I heard Juicy say earlier, like Mel needs time to get her shit together. The fellas need time to get their shit together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ice and Amani have been vocal on their feeds telling you how they feel. But this podcast is not for people to come in here with feel and vomit. It's to have a little more
Mm-hmm.
in depth conversation about what's going on. And it's not just totally about that video. So sorry if there's some fans out there that don't understand that. I'm sorry. Joe Budden, apologize. Take accountability. It's my fault. Do what you want. Okay, throw the stones. I don't give a fuck.
Oh gosh,
I,
Joe. Please
I'm just saying. I'm
stop
on.
with the drama.
But
Joe.
Jonay, I think it's drama from y'all.
No,
Dog, when I
it's
started, Jonay,
accountability,
let me
Joseph.
finish. When I started that space, I went to bed at 4:30,
Mm,
woke up at 8,
yeah.
watched y'all for 2 hours, and then said something.
Mm,
Immediately.
mm-hmm.
Just watching y'all in
Yeah.
the community, my everyday behavior. There was nothing different that happened. I normally start a space
Mm.
every fucking
Well,
weekend.
I know that. I'm just saying. Like,
Yeah, I just don't feel like I
yeah.
feel like the much to do about the shit is coming from a very rapid fan base, and I'm grateful for that fan base.
Mm,
So I'm not mad at nothing that y'all are saying or doing or feeling. Go ahead, get your shit off.
right. Right. And
Uh,
like I said, I appreciate that. But it wouldn't be me if I didn't keep it real, Joe. So
I love it.
I can't not say how I'm feeling. I'm
Jonay,
not.
is your heart and mind clear on this
Oh
subject about you
yeah.
being
yeah,
in the
hands.
I'm
space?
not never mad at
No, I
Jonay
don't think
speaking
it's
her
over.
mind.
T
Oh,
Wait,
Rankin.
no,
T Rankin.
no, no.
oh no, we getting to the hands. Trust me, I'm just making sure she's straight. That's all.
I think T Rankin's up, then T Rankin, Grandpa Rich, El Janelle. T Rankin, go ahead.
Oh, wait, hold up. Wait, that's not fair. You can't do T ranking and then Grandpa Rick right after Joe Nade. Like, I
Oh,
see
you
No,
did
I
the
what you're
don't.
break?
I
doing.
did.
I see what you're
No, no,
doing. I
no, no.
read what T Rankin said
That's
yesterday.
that's
So
that's
I see
exactly
No,
what's
T
what
going on.
Rankin. T
he
Getting
set
Rankin
to
didn't
your
have
ass
who's
up,
that?
any.
Dash
T
setting
Pastor.
me up like that? All right,
No,
Stacking
no,
up the
no.
bit,
bet.
yeah,
T-
Joe.
Your
He's
ass
stacking up the
up.
big guns
Yeah,
on you.
yeah,
nah. He bringing up Juan Soto and Aaron Judge back to
T
back.
Rankin.
All
Hey,
right,
T
come
that's
Rankin
what
on.
he
had it. Hold on,
that's
Juicy,
what
hold on.
that's what he
The
did
big
during the
bats
whole
in the
Jada
lineup,
Kendrick
yeah.
shit.
Stop with y'all.
He
Okay.
kept
T Rankin
stacking
had
it
an
with
opposing opinion than Jonay. That's why I said T Rankin. Go up. Go ahead. T Rankin, go ahead. Unmute.
Miss
Yes,
Rankin, the floor is yours.
yes. Thank you so much. Actually, to be fair, I'm actually aligned with Joe on this one. And I gave an
Told
I
y'all.
gave yeah I gave my
Damn, I can't
submission.
hear T ranking.
All right,
Oh,
I'm gonna
no.
send you
Uh,
oh
down and
send him
bring
down
you
and
no.
back
send him
up.
back up.
Can you hear me?
Hold on,
Yeah,
give us a
Rankin, I hear
second.
you.
We
Let
could
me.
hear
We
you, but
can't
Joe
hear you,
We're,
but
can't.
we're
Joe
gonna
can.
we're gonna send Joe down and bring him back up so we can hear you. Just got
Okay,
us.
that's fine.
Bring him in and out.
Yeah.
Pause.
Wait. Who are we sending down? Send
They
down.
sent down Joe and
No, I
now
I
heard
already
her.
Joe.
got
Y'all
it
sent me
straight.
down,
Joe
and then I
said.
heard her.
Dash. I got it
Okay.
straight.
Okay. Cool.
All
Yeah.
right.
So surprisingly to me, I'm
All
on
right,
Joe's
Joe. Can you
side.
can you hear Miss Rankin?
He said
Yeah,
he can
yeah,
hear it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Surprisingly to me, I'm actually on Joe's side with this. And like I gave my submission earlier, I don't know if you heard it, but the point is, I think at this juncture, given what has transpired in the past, I would much prefer that the entire cast is ready to discuss this with the seriousness that it deserves. And you've alluded to it, right? This is an industry wide situation that needs to be discussed and examined, right? And I think, unfortunately for you, given your position, your feet will be held to the fire because you're not only a celebrity in quotes, you had a personal relationship with the individual in question. So your words will be poured over with a fine tooth comb. That's just the nature of the job that you do. And as a fan, as somebody who pays to enjoy the show because I want to show love and support, I would rather not have people who don't listen to the show, who don't understand some of the nuances, come out and speak from a position of pure tomato holders, right? So they're waiting to hurl the tomatoes at you, waiting to for you to say a misstatement. Wait, so I would much rather you take your time, consider the various aspects, because this is not just commenting on the video. I mean, okay, if he was just going to comment on the video, the entire room would say, yeah, the video was wrong, it was disgusting, that never should have happened. That's what the entire room would say. Okay, could they move on at that point? Or do they get to examine the bigger issue of this kind of shroud of silence that's been around this kind of behavior? Because we've heard rumors of these kinds of behaviors for a long time. They can expand the topic, examine it from different angles, and everybody's prepared with their talking points. And they've had the weekend to think it over. So when they come on the show on Wednesday and they underperform or they under examine the matter at hand, maybe then we'll have something to say. But like Joe said, we can't really critique silence. The entire world is talking about this. If you're on Twitter, they're talking about this. If you go on Instagram, they're talking about it. And to be fair, I haven't seen an angle that was not already cliche. And I say this with all due respect, right? Like nobody's saying anything new because really we're all outsiders. Most of us on Twitter tweeting at each other on IG speaking about it, we're all outsiders. We don't have any inside information. We don't have any insights as to how this kind of behavior has been protected and shrouded and silences have been bought over the years, etc. Because I mean, there's so many questions that arise from this. When you sit down and you watch and you realize that actually people have been speaking out in different snippets about these behaviors for a long time. Why were we not listening? What were we missing? What kind of industry is it that makes women so vulnerable? And then perhaps when the industry itself is done with the perpetrators, you know, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but you see what I'm saying. Some of these things I'm not really equipped to speak to because I'm on the periphery. I'm so far on the outside. I can only wait for people who actually have an insight and have something to say to speak. And I would much prefer that this isn't treated as a rap battle where everything is stopped to examine it line by line. It's not entertainment. We have to treat it seriously. And if we want to listen, we want to listen because perhaps we respect the people that are speaking to us about it. And we respect the fact that they should also be given the time to gather their thoughts. This is not a vox populi where you just put a microphone in front of Ish or Malaysia and say, go in Flip's voice, right? They need time to think. And as far as I'm concerned, I would rather you edit out your 7 minutes or maybe of treating it with levity or not treating it properly and come back and do it properly than to be bombarded with Twitter clips of Joe Budden and his crew making fun of, in quotes, making fun of the incident. No, 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 no. I would much rather wait until Wednesday. The world is not going to end. I'll wait and hear what you have to say then. That's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Rankin. I believe is it Rick next? What's the order? Pardon me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
Yeah.
for
Rick.
you, Dash. Good for you. Get out of here, nigga.
Rick, go ahead.
Rick, yeah, Rick, the floor is yours.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Well, you
ma'am.
got to speak a little bit louder, but I can hear
Yes,
you.
ma'am. I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. So, I most of what I have to say on this topic, I kind of said to Joe yesterday. So I'm not gonna repeat myself. I just saw Jonay coming up here to a 20v1, and I didn't feel like that was fair because what she was saying is more indicative of what the community felt, and I feel like that should be present on stage. And I feel like so two things. One, I feel like this is being taken out of context because I feel like we're trying to look at this in a vacuum as opposed to like looking at the bigger picture of this, which would include Joe's initial or the podcast. Let me not say Joe because it was his whole podcast initial review of the Diddy situation when it happened in November. Around that time, a lot of people weren't really satisfied with Joe's response at that time. And he actually kind of earned a reputation from his initial response of skating around the Diddy topic. As Micah pointed out on stage yesterday, and I think you may have mentioned it today as well. A lot of people were on edge before as soon as the video came out, they were already on edge about what Joe was going to do about it because he already had a reputation, allegedly, of skating around the topic. We can't just divorce that from this new conversation. He already had some stigma around him for allegedly not appropriately addressing the topic. So when this happens again and we don't get that initial address, and let's be clear, there's pros and cons to everything. I'm hearing what you guys are saying, which is there will be a better response now that time has passed. They had a chance to digest the information, all of that. This can be a whole expose level. Well, I'm excited to hear it. Of course, if you're a fan of the pod, that's what we're here for. That's why we like to listen to this podcast. So, yes, there's that, but the cons would be we didn't get that initial reaction. We didn't get that knee jerk reaction, and whether we earned it, if that's entitlement, I mean, I don't want to rehash that because like I said, what I said yesterday about it, honestly, I feel like it is Joe's responsibility to give it. He needs to give both, really. When you're the voice of a culture, entire community of people, the crown is heavy. It takes a lot. Sometimes you gotta do both.
You know what, Grandpa? I slept on that, what you said, and I woke up ready to beef about it more. I just don't know what you're doing now. I slept on that. I ain't never give this title to myself. Y'all tried to eat me up a little bit yesterday with that. You the podfather. You the podfather. Get the fuck
Joe,
out of
come on
here.
now.
Whoa,
Come
time out,
on
time out,
now.
time.
When
Is that
that
some Joe
complex list
I'm
manipulation?
not
came
gonna
Is
fight
that
out,
it.
Joe
I'm not. But
manipulation?
they.
Let him,
when
All right,
that
let him
all
respond.
complex
right, all
list
right.
came out, you was listed number one.
Oh, I
When did
went
we hear the
crazy.
end of it? Have we heard the end of it?
I went
I don't even
crazy.
think we've heard the end of it.
Yeah, but
Don't
3 weeks
start Grandpa
ago.
Rick up.
Wait, this is what I. Nah,
He gave himself
I
number
love
one
Grandpa Rick.
yesterday.
Listen, this is what I'll say, and then I'll shut up because maybe it's manipulation. I don't know. Uh, just 3 weeks ago, I gave number one to Act. Didn't
Boo.
work.
And we disagreed.
All right, go
You
ahead.
you did,
All
and
right,
I
I'm
feel
done.
like maybe at that time he was number one, or if he wasn't actually number one, the appearance was definitely there, right? Because Drake was sending him all them. He put him on his diss track. He was sending him all the diss. People was premiering this on his stream. He had number one energy, but the goal is not to be number one; is to stay number one. That's what Drake is learning right now. You can be number one all day, but what happens when somebody challenges you to get it back, or can you keep it? And Act just show with all this rape allegations, he can't. He's not the person who can keep it. He might get it. He might get the ball, but when he shoot it, he might brick it. That's the moral to the story.
Yep.
Back to what I was saying. We can't just try to take this out in a vacuum and act like there wasn't already stigmas around this. That was my first point. The second point was just that we got to know that the community is going to feel how they feel. Everybody's got a different opinion. Like I said, I think it's pros and cons to waiting, but we kind of wanted to see that initial reaction and then the follow-up reaction, right? And I feel like that wouldn't have been bad content. I keep seeing people saying, well, you guys are treating this domestic violence like it's rap battles. You're treating this domestic. This is not for entertainment. Okay, first and foremost, no, it's not. It's not rap battles. It's actually something way more important and way more worthy of our attention and reactions. Actually, so it's way more important than rap battles. So rap battles get emergency podcasts and immediate responses and immediate reactions. Then DV from a rap icon deserves 10 times that. Okay, and it's not about content. It's about making a statement to the culture and the community. The second thing I was just gonna say around that is just that damn, I lost it. I never
Well,
lose.
how do you know that you were going to get a second response after the initial reaction? How do you know that you were going to
Because
get that 5 minutes and
typically
then
we
more?
do. Typically, even from albums, we'll have
I'm
that
saying
first day
I'm saying
response
sorry.
on Friday that comes out
I'm,
Saturday, and then we get well, I slept with this album. It really didn't hit for me like that. They did that with Travis Scott album just recently with
well,
Utopia.
I'm saying you're talking about an album again. Okay, so I'm talking
Okay, so
about this response here.
any topic, and this is where y'all are fucking up. The
Who's y'all?
minute it's on the podcast, it is
You.
content. What part of
Man,
that
get out of here,
is
Michael.
not is escaping y'all? I really want to know. Anytime it becomes once it's discussed on the podcast, it is content. A lot of things become content. If y'all are gonna argue that this is not content, then he shouldn't talk about it at all. Period. Who's gonna argue that though? Right. Y'all
Well,
want to
what the
hear
fuck
him.
just
Go
happened?
ahead.
No. I asked you a
Just made a
question. How
whole
the
point
hell?
that nobody
Lucy,
was
hold on.
Jazz, you don't
arguing.
want to go with
Nobody
Grandpa
said.
Rick.
No,
Go
I
ahead.
want to ask her a question. How do you know that he's gonna? Okay, after he gives his initial response, which is 5 minutes, right? 5 to 8 minutes, whatever the fuck it was before they edited it out. How do you know that he was gonna show back up on Wednesday and give an in-depth like thought
Mainly
into
because
this.
Diddy issued an apology today.
Okay, that's
If no for
that's
no
easier to
other
say that in
reason than
hindsight.
We
even for
didn't know
that
that at the
reason.
time, though.
There
It
you go.
doesn't
Thank
matter.
you,
We
Pete.
don't need to know that. We know that people started to react to it. So as they were reacting to it, others were reacting to it. And based on the reaction, usually we get a follow-up reaction. It doesn't matter what the topic is.
What?
So if they're reacting to it live on Friday, okay, they're reacting
Okay.
to the video live, they're watching it live as it comes out.
And if there's
That's
no
one.
apology, what's there to be
That's
said about
one
it on Wednesday?
reaction. Even if there's no apology, that's what I'm going off. You get the initial reaction of them watching the video live, and then they come back on Tuesday after watching the timeline. Joe just said he be locked in when they're potty. They're not watching the timeline. Da 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 da. Cool. When they go home Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, guess who's gonna be on the timeline? Right. Then they come back and they usually do another reaction based on what they saw on the timeline. What are we?
So
No
so you think
apology
so
or
you
no
think they
Wait,
so
apology.
you think they're
wait,
gonna do it in two parts in that
no, wait.
scenario?
They
But
always do.
Mayor,
I
wait.
don't know. Do y'all
This
watch this
I
podcast or
want to give
not?
a
Why?
thoughtful response to what Grandpa Rick is saying. I get the points that you're bringing up. And this is why I said earlier, and I posted it up there, like at this point, because the community is so big, we cannot keep saying what the community thinks. Because I know that a lot of people feel like you, but I also know that a lot of people feel like me in the fact that I do not want to have to keep coming back on this pod talking about this subject. I am completely fine with having a full segment discussing all of the nuances of it. But again, like we have stated, this is not like, I'm not saying it's not content, because of course it's going to be spoken about and presented in a way, but this isn't enjoyable content that I'm coming back every week for, like a rap.
So, Juicy, did he do a space to address the people who think like you, or did he do a space to address the people who think like me?
It sounded like he did a space to address anybody who wanted to ask about something in the community.
He specifically said he did the space because a lot of people were kicking his back in. Immediately 4 a.m., they was going in on him and questioning his character and questioning his morals and his background based on him not talking. He said that in the
But
space.
what? Okay, so tell me what that proves, because even still, that
The
just
point is, a lot of
wait,
people were only doing that because they took objection to the
because
fact that
even
he was not bringing that up on the podcast. They only started questioning and doing all of that because he didn't bring it up on the podcast.
I want to have a
There's
thought.
a lot of hands up.
Okay. I'm saying I don't understand what that proves in the fact, because that means that he's taking a time to still say something to the people that feel that they needed to hear something immediately. But as far as his platform, he's still going to give a response.
Okay, it went, and to my point that I made when I first came on stage, I don't want to rehash everything we talked about yesterday. When y'all brought this up as a topic, because it was a thing in the community for the most of yesterday. It's actually still a thing in the community because niggas missed the space. But for the people who actually pay attention, this was a very big thing yesterday morning before Joe did the space, right? My only point in bringing that up is to say that the only reason why we're talking about this is because it was a thing in the community, and the people who felt that way were not being represented on stage. It was just Jonay and the rest of these niggas. So somebody had to come up here and say, no, Jonay's not crazy. It's not all about kicking Joe's back in. It's not about, oh, I'm not going to watch it's not about any of those knee-jerk reactions. It's about saying how niggas really felt. This man had already had a stigma, and then you turn around and do this. It looks away.
Okay.
And we love Jonay and da-da-da. None of you niggas stepped in for her, though. So I don't
Because
want to
we
hear
don't
that shit.
need to
I really
step in
don't.
for
Because I
nobody.
had
Nobody stepped in for you. You know how to handle yourself.
right.
Think about
It
it.
ain't
Ain't
about
nobody
It's
else
that.
an
on
My
stage.
point,
opposing
that's the
view.
Now
reason I
this is a
came up
dog
on
pile.
stage.
You'll
That's
get it.
all. That was my only
When
point.
she asked me my question, I mean, I gave her a response, and she was okay with it. Like, it's not a dog pile. We're not here to fight anybody up here. What are you talking about?
Okay,
Yeah,
let's not
buzzwords are
gaslight.
not needed.
Let's not do that. I
Oh
saw
my
what I
God, you
saw
go.
as a
How many?
listener.
Come on,
Girl, take that to
Grandpa
the
Rick. You
timeline.
got a
Don't
bag
get
of words.
gaslighting. Please stop.
Oh, Janelle, go ahead, please.
Y'all sound like the Knicks arguing after the game. Like, it was too many
Oh
ISOs.
shit.
The Knicks ain't saying shit after that game. They
I knew
take
that
their
somebody was
shit,
going to come. Y'all was going to
pack
take
it up,
shots
and
at
walk
Joe
out.
up here.
Pack it up and walk out. Get ready for next year. They need to heal first, and they're gonna need a nice long vacation. You know, the Tibbs had you playing all 48 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna need a nice
Cancun
little.
on 3.
All right.
I lost money on the Knicks.
That
Fuck.
was a nice break, but let our ladies get us off. I think Nell was next.
Let's get
You
to
don't
the
need to
rest of these
unmute.
hands.
I think. Okay, how did I call it?
Dash,
It
I got
was
it,
it
Dash.
was me next, but
Oh, I'm
We
I
sorry.
know, Rich, but you've spoken
You
already.
both
I'm gonna let
talked
the
I
over
wanted
ladies
each
go.
people
Yeah,
who
other.
no,
didn't
I know,
speak
I
first.
know. That's what I was just clarifying. Go ahead.
I actually wanted to talk to Jonay, and she's not on the stage.
All right, I'll get Jonay back up here if she wants to come up
Okay.
here. Give it a second. All right, Rich, and then Feats, Rush, Jay. Go ahead, Rich.
So what I wanted to say was just I I don't know how many of us have like backgrounds in media. My background's in journalism. I have family that owns like the only black-owned radio station and newspaper back home where I'm from. And long story short, I a lot of times you'll find that like even in these sort of situations, we as black media, um, we don't have enough of a community where we can hold our own like politicians, our businessmen, women accountable for things that they do within the America. And I think that what I'm hearing a lot is that society, media organizations, we need to collectively be able to hold each other responsible because from what I saw, even knowing that this happened on CNN technically should have been the one that put this out there when it X years ago or whatever, but they are the ones that have been the business beneficiaries from the status of this individual. And so, in a way, they had the most necessity to put this out. But let's say that this individual, let somebody in the black media had a hold of this, and at that point, it's necessity for them to speak on this. And um, I don't necessarily think that we should expect our black media that does not have that sort of stronghold control in levels of accountability to each other to be reactionary to something that a bigger network has the responsibility to to do for themselves. Because as I said earlier in this conversation, I don't I don't like the fact that Diddy got this status of owning a network like Revolt when someone like Byron Allen was arguing in the Supreme Court trying to make sure that there was equity, there was justice being served, and justice wasn't being served. And not just being served for black people within the black media networks, but these women, these anybody that's been hurt by this individual. But they put this man on a platform and they have the responsibility to put him in check. And we as a collective, as black media, we had the same responsibility too. But we need to be able to have that power so that when we know these things are going on, we can talk about it. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay, okay,
Yes,
okay.
sir. Yes, sir.
What happened? If you look at the timeline, when the Supreme Court case happened, it's around the same time when the announcement for revolt happened.
Yeah, don't mess with
Okay.
our like timeline of events now.
That's not what
Yo,
okay. And
okay.
what did Byron Allen do to try to protect black women?
Hey,
All right,
Um,
never mind,
hey,
never mind, never mind,
oh,
never mind.
hey, you never
Hi,
seen that show?
Jonay.
hey, El.
You know I love you, right?
I know, girl. What's up?
You know we
Hold
always
on,
be
don't
able to have
dogpile.
great debates, right?
Micah.
Hmm.
This always been our thing.
Yes, it has. Not too much today, though. I'm kidding.
Absolutely
Go
not
ahead.
too
Go
much.
ahead, baby.
Absolutely medium
I
amounts.
love this dynamic. I
We're
really do.
gonna keep it
No,
at
I love L.
medium
L is my
amounts,
girl.
okay?
L is
This
my girl.
dynamic
Medium
is dope.
amounts.
See, all right.
We
Right.
love.
I
No, we
think
love
that
L.
you
Hug it
asked,
out.
yes, and we love Jonay. I
Period.
think that you
Facts.
asked for
Mhm.
accountability, and I would like to ask a few questions that may be perceived as holding you accountable. Is that okay?
Absolutely. Sure.
Shit.
Okay. It
Dash.
seems like in the beginning of your rant,
Mhm.
and I don't mean any offense when I say a rant,
Mhm.
you kind of made it like Joe was wrong. You kept
Mhm.
saying when he does things that are wrong.
Mhm.
But throughout your talking points, and you asked not to be interrupted, so that's why I'm using terms like rant and speech.
No, it's fine.
You kind of shifted to the community being who is wrong, and it seems like the shift kind of happened when Joe came in. So I'm wondering, do you think in that moment you were slightly guilty of what you said the community was guilty of, where it's like he gives you an excuse or he gives you an answer, and all of
Hmm.
a sudden you kind of shift because you didn't really stand on he was wrong for not releasing it right away. You kind of shifted towards the end. Could you kind of
Hmm.
speak to what was the
Sure.
motivation of that, or if you even saw it that way?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'll say it with Joe on the stage. Joe, you were wrong. So that way you understand that I was holding him accountable initially. That's how I felt. I stand extremely 10 toes down into that because that's how I felt. I felt a way about the space that he did. I felt a way, and the reason why I'm saying him is because this is his podcast, right? Where you heard me shift into other people is when I was having other people ask me questions about, and I was addressing another point, which is us giving Joe cop and please for Joe. So I may have kind of had two conversations happen at the same time, but be very clear. The decision for having the pod be edited is Joe's decision, and I'm not changing that. But what I am saying is accountability for Joe does not mean that I'm anti Joe or I don't support and I don't do these things. I said that several times. The second layer of accountability that I'm having is if we're going to say I'm having accountability for the community, which I can't really do that. Like, who am I? But it would be to say certain things we don't need to be cop and please for Joe. He can handle it. And if we are going to be supporters, we don't necessarily have to, whether it's in my opinion of copping the plea, could be someone's opinion of the situation. And I get that. So I'm not saying that in disrespect, but for me, when you're giving excuses for a man that can speak for himself, you're copping a plea and you're not even involved in the situation to what and I appreciate Grandpa Rick. I appreciate you standing in 10 and feeling that way. I get it. I did not feel attacked because I like a 20v1. I don't give a damn because I'll go up, head up, everybody,
Same,
one on one.
same, same.
But I have no problems with that. I didn't feel that way. And the people on the stage, when stuff goes left with me, they always have my back if it went into a disrespectful place. So I felt safe having those conversations. But when I was having conversations with the two gentlemen on stage, is they were starting to direct it towards me. Why are when are you going to be happy? When are you? I'm like, okay, so let me bring it back to y'all. So I think if that's how it was interpreted, I want to clarify. I 1000% am holding Joe accountable for the decision, but I'm also calling out the community for excusing the decision and not letting him live in the accountability that we're trying to give him.
Okay, and what you said was wrong, if I'm understanding you correctly. You said it was wrong to need time to get your thoughts together in order to discuss it. Do you still feel that way after
Say
hearing from
wrong.
him?
I said the word wrong.
Yeah.
I said it was
You said,
wrong
well,
for
he
needing
was
time.
wrong. Basically, you said he was. I'm just trying to clarify what was he wrong about, because I think that's the thing that kind of startled me in the beginning, because you was
I
like
didn't say.
he
I
was
know I
just
didn't say wrong.
wrong.
I
No,
didn't
you
say
did say wrong.
wrong.
No, you did, because wrong is what kind of startled me. Like, damn, wrong. Like, basically, he was wrong. What he did was wrong, and so I'm just trying to
Okay.
clarify what exactly was wrong.
The,
She said the
Was it
wrong
the
decision.
editing?
so
Yeah,
so
you
I'll
made the
make
wrong
it clear.
decision.
The wrong
So
decision is not the same as being wrong. So
it's
a
the
wrong
same to me. So
decision
I don't
is
understand what
just
the difference is in that. But I'm
it's
asking,
okay. So wrong is
is it
saying
hold on real
that
quick,
you
let
are
me
wrong.
finish my question.
Hmm.
So is the wrong decision having a limited talk about it? Is the wrong decision editing it out, or is the wrong decision deciding to wait to get your thoughts together to talk about it? Because my understanding of what you were saying was you should be able to talk about it on the fly. You don't need time to get your mind together.
So that's what your interpretation of what I was saying is,
Correct.
and you're asking me to clarify your interpretation.
No, I'm asking you to clarify what you meant so I can see,
Okay.
so I can have the correct interpretation.
Okay. So what I was saying is that if you are having a conversation which Joe gave more clarity to, is that he did not want to have an emotion filled response. He wanted to have a more thought out, understood, clarity having response because they do not respond just for us, they respond for the masses. That's what Joe said. My stance in that conversation was that a response is required when you're talking about something of this magnitude in hip hop. A response. So to have no response to me is not really managing. And I can understand everybody's points. I understand your point. I understand other people's points that I've been listening to since having my diatribe, if you can call it that. But to me, it's talking about it. You say something. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be something that's well thought out, because this is not something to think about. Wrong is wrong. So, for example, if I were on the pod and and again, this is not the best equivalency, but it's just something I want to use. If someone passed away that was an icon in the community, I don't want to put any names because I don't want to speak ill of anyone's life, but do we need to go home and process, oh my God, so and so just passed away, okay, let's process this, let's think about it, how do we want to attack it? Do we want to, if it was a controversial person, do we want to go away? No, a lot of times it's addressed in the moment. And I was also alluding, L, that there have been times where things were given to them in the heat of the moment, where they've made decisions from a business perspective to pivot how they sent the pod out. So it's not wrong to get your thoughts together. No, it is not wrong to uh, not discuss something you feel that you're not capable or qualified to discuss. But we also know that Joe is qualified to discuss this. He feels he is. We know he is. He has spoke about it in the past. So to me, the wrong decision was several elements. It is editing it, not putting it out, and then having the conversation at a later time, which was essentially less than 24 hours after that. But that's also been kind of talked about on the stage, and I can understand multiple points, but that was where my point was coming from.
Got it. So do you think that after listening to his explanation of why, if you understand where he comes from, do you think that is cop and please for him?
It's what's copping please for him.
Like,
Did I say he's now right?
let's say you talk to somebody about it later and they say, "Oh yeah, I think that was wrong." And you say, "Well, no, he kind of
No,
explained
it's still
that
wrong.
it
No, it's still wrong. See, that's the thing. And again, that's when we're talking about having conversations with people, and when we're talking about accountability and conversations of accountability, whether we believe I or anyone else should be able to hold him accountable or not. At the end of the day, if I'm saying this is wrong and I feel you should have done better and this is why I feel this way, all the other things help me to understand the reason for your decision. It don't change what you did. So it's still wrong. Nothing's
yeah, I
changing.
disagree with
But
that.
it's just
Yes,
an
I guess that's where we
understanding.
disagree. I think
And that's
that
fine.
it would have been wrong to have a lighthearted conversation about something so serious. I think sometimes we talk about how much responsibility is on his shoulders and all of that, but then when he takes an action to be responsible, I feel like he still gets his back kicked in. And I just think,
Hmm.
I don't know, I just think that's unfair. I disagree with the idea that it doesn't take that long to think about it. I feel like the initial response, of course, is, oh, this is terrible, this is fucked up, this shouldn't be that way. But I
Hmm.
think what makes his opinion a little more valuable is the added nuance. So even like, I don't know if I was in the room with you, but like I was in a room with somebody and we were like researching what year was this, what hotel was this, what city was this in, what's the statute of limitations,
That
how
couldn't
is
have
this
been done same
connected
day,
to,
L.
I'm sorry,
That couldn't have been done same day.
mid pod, an hour and a half into the pod, they should have stopped and started Googling all the details about it
Why
and
not?
called.
They've done it before.
2.5 hours into the pod.
No,
What do you
it
mean?
was
Two
there was
Sorry.
and a half hours into the pod?
yeah, it
Yeah.
was the ender.
And how would we have known it if they edited it? The only way we would have known that is the time that they would have taken. We would not have known the end goal, the product that we received. So I get it. You're
I
copping
think
No,
please,
so.
no, no,
and
no.
I
I'm
I
going
think
understand
based.
you're
so.
copping
Sorry,
please,
sorry.
but
I think so.
I'm going
right,
based
and
off of
it's
the
fine.
fact
No,
that it.
so I don't think it's nothing wrong with giving somebody grace in this man. Everybody, like you mentioned the thing about death, everybody doesn't deal with death in the same way. Some people do need
Absolutely,
a moment to respond and think about it and stuff.
absolutely,
So, but I
absolutely.
also agree with nothing wrong with holding someone accountable as well.
That's it.
So I see
Because
what
I
you agree
think
with.
I think so to your to make sure it's very clear, L, because I want to make sure no words are misinterpreted from what I'm saying. I am no one's like I and I even said this, so I'm not for sure how you interpreted me saying he's wrong, because I definitely said I'm not his judge nor his jury. But what I am saying is I feel that it was handled improperly and handled wrong. It's not the same as calling him wrong. The second point is at the end of the day, if that is something that has had a history similar to kind of the point that Grandpa Rick, she articulated it with other words that I was feeling similarly. if there's already a history and you know that this is going to be something sensitive because of this person and the history of this person in your name, I don't think that it is beyond reproach for to understand that people are going to be like, come on, bro, like, why'd you do that? You should have said something. Now, the grace to your point, Micah, maybe L to your point, the grace of giving him time to do it. Okay, cool. But there's definitely other things that could have been done. So if you're not responding on the pod, say, okay, we know, guys, we're going to talk about it this date. This is happening, da, 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 whatever. Instead of it seeming as if, which Joe has clarified, we are feeling in the moment that this is something that is reactionary and you're responding to something because you're seeing the backlash, and responding to backlash is not the same as feeling that it was wrong in the first place.
I don't know. I feel like what you described, hey guys, this is what we're gonna do, is what he did in the spaces. Like I know earlier you said he did a 10-hour spaces, even though I don't think it was 10 hours. But
L
it seems
girl,
like
don't do that today. This ain't the day
don't
to
do
do
what?
that. Don't do that. We're
Don't do
not we're
what?
not gonna do that,
What?
because if we were gonna go nitpick about hours
No,
and time,
it's
like,
a
we're not gonna
different.
do that.
But that's a misrepresentation of what happened. I don't. Please don't get upset. It's just a
No,
misrepresentation
I'm
of
not
what
getting
happened.
upset, but
But
I'm
what
just
I'm
saying,
saying
like,
is, isn't
you
that
know, that's a
exactly?
facetious
Is
term to say 10 hours. Well, it wasn't really 10, it was 5. Okay, girl, you
No, it
know
was
what
like two.
I
But
like.
wasn't it what isn't that him doing what you just asked for? Like when you said you come on and you explained this is what we're doing with the pod, this is what's gonna happen, it's gonna isn't that him doing what you just said he should
No,
do?
it's reactionary. So, for example, L, if you shoot somebody, right? I'm just being very dramatic with this example. You shoot somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I say, L, you shouldn't have shot them. And you say, you know what? You right. Did you know that it was wrong? Or did I tell you it was wrong? And that's for you to answer.
I don't understand what you're saying.
If you shoot somebody, right? You go out and you shoot somebody. And then I come to you and say, L, girl, you just shot somebody. Damn, what's wrong with you? You're like, you know what? You right. I shouldn't have done that.
You saying you
Did you
would
know that it
respect
was
it
wrong
more?
beforehand? Or did you
You
only
saying
know that it was wrong once I
you
told
saying
you?
you would respect it more if I just out of the blue said, "Hey
No,
guys."
that you would have known not to do that. Because this is not for
Okay.
I
me
think we're
to,
going in
that's my
circles.
point.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
Not
Janae,
All
circles.
right.
Janae,
Again,
Well,
real,
thank
I
real
you,
was
quick.
asked
Jonay.
that. Let's be very clear.
Thank
Jump
I
in
you,
was
there,
asked to
Jonay.
jump,
come
I
back
jump in
up
just
there,
here.
cause
my whole
jump.
point is I don't
I was
really
asked
like
to
the
come back up here. So I wasn't trying
yes,
to
she
go. It
was.
was asked of me.
So
So
thank you,
Cool.
Jonay. My whole point is
I
I
asked
just don't
Janae.
like the
I
wording
don't care.
of
My
cop
bad.
and please and all of that. I think that that wording sometimes can be borderline offensive because like Kelly Price is cop and please for P. Diddy. Like that is cop and please. Us understanding that this is a production that is highly sought after, that is edited on the fly, that comes out quickly because this is how the ravaging community is expecting it. And us having some understanding of, okay, this is important. This is the decision you made. I don't think that that's the same thing as cop and please. So I felt shot by that. So that's why I wanted to come up and kind of dissect the idea because like a lot of people who are putting so much pressure on him, like they're not discuss like if you look at their timeline, they don't got shit about that shit on there. It's like they put all of the pressure on Joe, like it's only on him to speak for us when really it's a whole community that needs to come up and speak about that shit more so than just him. So I think sometimes we in the idea of holding people accountable, we really become judge and jury, and I think sometimes that's not fair. So that's
uh,
all I just kind of wanted to communicate.
understood.
All right.
Fuck, I was gonna say, goddamn. Leave it damn
But
thing. But you know what? um, I I'm just trying to think what is happening? Like what are we even like talk? Is it because he didn't put it out, had it like, and the I just feel like if the description wasn't there, none of this would even be happening. I mean, it might be some
No,
discourse,
Crazy.
but
no, I don't think so. I think
there
if
I
would
they
be
didn't,
think
some
the
discourse,
description
but it
being
would
there
be
fucked it
like
up.
he didn't say nothing at all versus we know for sure like something was there and taken out.
But Feast, that's not
And,
the conversation that's being had.
and then it's
Like,
the time and then so is it the timing of it?
no, like that's what, are you
The
missing the point? That has nothing to do with it. That it's what was said and was being said by people that are in opposition to this is exactly what you're saying. We are saying it because it wasn't talked about. This has nothing to do with a description. The
I
But
think if the
description didn't get
description,
anybody enraged.
I think
It's
if
the
the description
perception.
wasn't there, we would have just expected it to come on the next pod. No.
That's not
yes.
true.
That's
People would
not
have
No,
true.
no,
said
no. I
something.
think there might have been. I definitely don't think it would have been any of this, but
All right.
it would have just been the same usual shit. Oh, he skated over the Diddy shit, and then next pod would have came, and
Y'all think I really want to ask both y'all for real. Like, let's be for real. You
I'm
think
always for real.
that, but I want both of y'all to really be for real. From something that happened on Friday, y'all think that the people would have skipped past Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and waited till Wednesday, 5 days later, to listen and hear something from Joe and not have nothing to say? And the
No, I think
only
they would
reason
have been
people are
talking
mad
shit.
is because
I
of the
just said
description.
that there would have been discourse. I just didn't think
Okay,
it
so
would
what are
have
we
been
talking
all
about?
of
It has nothing to
this,
do with
and
a
the
description.
narrative would have just been he didn't say
They
nothing,
would have killed
so
that nigga
nobody
No,
really
I
regardless
knew
It
think
of
they
would have
what
nothing
he
would
for
have.
happened
said.
anyway. So
sure.
what
I
are we
think they
talking
would
They
have
would have
been.
about?
killed that
I
nigga
think they would have
regardless of
been
what he
talking
did.
shit like, "Wow, he ain't
Yeah,
gonna say
and it would
nothing.
have
And that's
went
Wow,
what's
he ain't gonna
smooth. It
say
happening.
would have
So
just
what
nothing."
are we
blown over
talking
like
about?
it does, like it's been blowing. I
Nah.
believe Grandpa Rick brought it up earlier too, like the alleged narrative around him and how he handles the Diddy situation in general, how he skates around it. So it'd have been the same normal shit. He skates around it, and the
So what is
community
it that
probably
you're
would have just been
defending
like,
then? I don't
"All
get it.
right, like I don't."
Is she
So what is it
defending
that you're
anything?
defending? I'm asking Feats. What is it that you're defending then?
I'm not defending anything. I'm trying to find out what is niggas even going back and forth about. What is the what is the issue?
Word.
What do you mean what's the issue?
Like what I
Okay, I'll help. Okay, basically the thing that's going on is that a lot of people seem to have a hard time understanding where Jonah is coming from, where she feels like Joe made the wrong decision and needs to be held accountable for that.
I
That's the
don't
big
know and
way to say it.
I, okay.
That's pretty much
To
the gist.
something that Joe has already said. So if Joe's already said it and I'm doubling down on something he's already said, then I'm trying to figure out why anybody else is asking what the problem is, because he's already said it.
Right at that point is you can just separate.
Like what it,
Well,
like y'all are now arguing my point, but that's not changing. I said what I said.
right.
So I'm trying to understand what it when we're saying, well, what's the issue? There is no issue. It's okay to have a conversation to hold Joe accountable, which he's already said his point, his perspective. He's clarified, but he's also said, I will take that L.
Right. Each
So
party is
what is it
standing
that we're
firm.
saying we
It's
don't get what's
Right.
true.
going
Right.
We.
on?
Each
We
I
each
want
don't
party
people
think
is
it's.
to
each
agree
party
with
is
him.
standing firm in their stances. Each
No,
party is
I
standing
don't
firm.
think
That's
it
it.
is an issue. I agree that it's not an issue, but I do think that everybody has the. This whole show is about everybody sharing their opinions. So the same way that you may have an opinion on what Joe does or says, somebody else may have an opinion on what you
And
do
L,
or
that's
say on
perfectly
the
fine.
show,
But what
and we
you
all
did, no,
just
hold
talk
on, but I
about
gotta
it.
pause you real quick because that's fine. But what you ended up doing, instead of just having your opinion, you wanted to battle me in an opinion that you're strong on, and you felt that I was taking a dig at you. So at the end of the day, you called me back up here to have a discussion about an opinion that you say we can all have. So is it Uchiwali or one mic?
Yes,
Because
you can have it.
you wanted to
Wait,
call
hold
me,
on,
no,
hold
hold
on, hold
on,
on, hold on,
you
hold on,
wanted
hold
to
on.
call to the
You
carpet
no,
things
no,
that
no,
you
no.
found
Let
and
me
Shout
holes
out
pause
to
in what I
Hove.
you.
said.
Let me pause you.
Who pressed the
I
button?
But
hate
it
when y'all.
paused
I
both of
hate
them.
when y'all do that.
Who
I
pressed the
didn't
Us
do
button?
it.
women are.
It probably was
Us
dead.
women are able to have a
Don't blame me.
conversation. Sometimes
Was it
when y'all
juicy?
No,
mute
no,
it,
no.
y'all
It was
make it more
juicy. It was
sense.
juicy, but what you guys don't
Okay.
understand is when you guys start talking over each other, we can't hear the discourse. We want to hear the discourse.
Right. Yeah. Especially and on the
Everybody's
playback as well. Yeah.
Automatically blaming me,
everybody's
Micah. You asshole.
I'm victim blaming. Sorry.
everybody's opinion is up to being agreed with or being criticized. If I have a feeling or a thought about your opinion, I have a right to share that. Because we have a relationship, I have even more of a comfort level to say, now hold on, Jonay, that really didn't sound right to me. That made me feel like almost like you calling out something that I do, which makes for a good conversation because a thing that you are calling out and saying you are against or wrong is a thing that I do. So it's actually good conversation to see two opposing sides flushing out, well, why is this? Why is that? What's up with this? What's up with that? You sound a little more offended than I wanted you to be. I thought we would be able to just discuss it. But the idea of is it Uchiwali or is it one mic is kind of confusing, because you have an opinion don't mean I can't have an opinion about your opinion. So how are those opposing ideas that even bring up the Uchiwali or
That's
one
like
mic
Inception.
slogan?
So
She understand what I said.
I get
Mike,
what you're
Mike,
saying. So I want to be real clear. I'm not offended, babe. Me and you have heated debates all the time. But what I am going to say is when you then say I personalize what you said, then that's where you take it to where you got offended. Because if you're coming up here to debate a point, that's different than saying you said cop and please and I took offense to that. So now I want to poke holes in something that you said because I feel like you were talking to me when I wasn't even talking to you.
But
So we can
Yeah,
definitely have that. We
I
can
think you're a
definitely
little
have
bit
that.
over analyzing that part. I'm just saying, like, if you say fuck the Knicks and I'm a Knicks fan,
Which
I
it
don't
is.
think you was talking to me. I'm not a Knicks fan.
Um,
But I'm not
yeah,
saying
obviously.
I'm not saying that I think you was talking to me when you said
yeah.
fuck the Knicks.
Hmm.
But I'm saying that we're on opposing sides of
Yeah.
the
And
argument,
that's
which I know
perfectly
you
fine.
understand.
No, I
Right. Okay.
do.
So I
And
didn't come
yeah.
up here to poke holes on it because I was emotionally invested. It didn't
Hmm.
make sense to me.
Right. Well,
this was
So
speech
hopefully
term,
we're
I've
by the
clarified
way.
we're
what I meant.
just talking about it.
Yeah. And
But
hopefully
no,
I've
I agree.
clarified.
It's not an issue.
Hmm.
It's just a conversation that we're discussing. I
Yeah.
think sometimes niggas put too much weight on Joe's shoulder and they can't wait to say, nigga, you ain't shit because you owe us a certain thing that I don't think that he actually owes. So it's just two different intelligent women who
Mm.
always go back and forth about shit
Absolutely.
talking about it.
Right.
Absolutely.
And
One
I will say this, L. You
sip.
know I love you, girl. Like I said, it don't the intensity. You know me. I don't take it personal.
Same, same, same,
I can
same.
have the conversation. But what I
Yeah.
am say is Joe
And
is
I
not
want us to
above.
maintain that because I love that I
Yeah.
can actually have an articulate conversation with you and you can
Always.
understand what I'm saying and come back.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think y'all be trying to kick his back in sometimes.
And that's
Love.
fine, but Joe ain't above that. That's my point. Like
But
Joe's
I
not
We
above
kick
that.
his
Like
back
but
in almost
okay,
we
every
okay,
kick
week.
wait, okay. So I'm
everybody's
glad
All right, now, ladies, we're gonna have to carry this to the after.
We
That part.
kick his back
Respectfully,
in every damn week.
respectfully. All right, just respectfully, you know. All right, Rush. I know you're gonna take a while. Go ahead. Go.
Actually, not. I'm gonna be really quick. Uh, so, with the benefit of hindsight and the ability to kind of look at, uh, you know, kicking his back in for whatever the reason is, it's kind of baffling because here we are kicking his back in for something that for we don't even know what he said in the pod. The folks that know about what was said were the pod members, and they probably will take that to their grave. For all we know, it was much better than whatever it is he's going to say on Wednesday. We don't know what was said, so we have folks are outraged on an opinion that they don't know what was said. Now, I get the silence part of it. Yes, the silence is complicit, whatever that is, but you don't know what was said. And the fact that he went back, shout out to E Manny, the homie who, said, listen, we probably should redo this. And for him to have the humility to say, you know what? Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. Let's redo this, knowing that he's going to get his back kicked in. Listen, I'm not kissing his ass or anything, but I think that's admirable. To say that. Listen, I performed. I don't think my performance was enough. I want to put much more into this performance. I want to put everything that this performance deserved into it and come back stronger. I mean, I don't see what the issue is with that. And I think it all boils down to, now if you're a detractor, you're gonna hate regardless. But it boils down to, if you're a fan or if you're in the community or whatever it is, you either don't trust Joe's instinct to kind of switch things up and put more thought into whatever it is that he's going to say on Wednesday, or you do agree with it. So for me, that's what it comes down to.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Russ.
Thank you, Rush. Juice
I,
like
So
talk
you
about
guys,
some
real quick,
timeline.
real quick before you guys go on, this is kind of important. Somebody didn't feel comfortable. I'm just going to read what they said, and says, I want to say something, but it's triggering for me, so I know it won't come out right. My voice is going to break. But if someone can add that for people that have either been a part of DV or have seen it, we appreciate Joe and the pod taking the time to actually speak on it properly and carefully. Because at first I was upset with the edit because I felt Joe may have been protecting it. But then I was like, wait, no, they want to discuss it properly. And I get that and actually prefer it. So I just wanted to share that they didn't feel comfortable coming up and saying it because it's a
Shout out to that person. We love you.
Shout out to them. Juice Wayne, Farmlands. Tell
All
us
right.
about
Juice Leno was good.
who it is again? Who buying all the farmland?
I just want to come up here to say one thing, man. Micah had a space the other day, and I admit I was kind of bugging out. All right, I'm not gonna say what I say was wrong, but how I said it was probably wrong. I admit that. All right, so I apologize to my man Joe Budden, because I was spazzing, woke him up for his nap. You know what I mean? And apologize to LA too, because I did kind of spaz on her. You know what I mean? But also, I want to give my flowers to Jonay because she said what I wish I would have said in that space, but I was too busy spazzing out. And that was a masterpiece, and I wish he was there that day to help a motherfucker out.
That is your lawyer. You did need your lawyer for sure.
Shout out to Zuckerberg and Juice Wayne. Chafil. Yo, Jay Keller, go ahead.
You did not just sneak that. Go ahead, Jay Keller.
All right. Hello?
Yes,
All
sir. I
right.
hear
Yeah.
you loud and
Yep.
clear. Floor is yours.
Oh, all right. Well, originally, when I guess when the pod came out, my thought process was since it dropped late, that more than likely they probably didn't cover it on the main pod, and it was gonna be on the Patreon. But then it got turned out that they had the 8 minutes. I feel like I agree with I think her name's Jonay.
Yes.
I would have. I guess I would have preferred them to drop the 8 minutes because I think Joe said something about it was mostly like Buck Diddy and all that stuff, and that's not like a bad response or comment on it, but I don't know what you can take in and dissect to come back and have I don't know what you could like kind of like take in and come back Wednesday and kind of like try to further out like do it like because I would have expected them to come back anyway because they normally do that. So it was kind of odd that it wasn't there. But I was assuming it was gonna be on Patreon because it probably came out late for them. But so yeah, that was the thought process I had on it.
Well, as he stated, Imani was the one who kind of pulled him to the side and suggested this. And of
Yeah,
course,
yeah,
that's somebody he trusts and, trusts as somebody who watches and somebody who's there with him. So,
Yeah.
it's all upon us, just trusting the people that we quote unquote fuck with or we watch and we understand that they will do their due diligence on it. And be
Yeah.
honest, it's a lot of topics we want to hear them speak on and we may don't hear them speak on, and we got to suck that up at sometimes. I don't think that's not hold them accountable. I think everybody just has a different tolerance level for what they want to see from the podcast.
Exactly. And
yeah, and I agree.
with that
But
mindset, I view them as handling it with care.
And I wanted to add to answer your question. He spoke to that earlier that it's not just about this specific situation. He would like the pod to take it to this is a common stance. This is an industry thing that needs to be addressed. Like so, it sounds like he's going to try to take the conversation further. So I understand that it's kind of hard for people to understand or maybe conceptualize because honestly I don't know if we've ever seen it in this kind of situation. I'm actually I'm looking forward to it. I'm eager to see how they've grown and they can express this honestly. Now that I say that.
And I would be hold on, Jerry, got to mute your mic, got a little feed. I would be remiss if I didn't say during that whole topic, I guess when we was transitioning between Act, Diddy and stuff, I was commenting as well, and there was a lot of comments just about the overall culture of the jokes behind DV and stuff like that, how it's it to me distasteful to see on the pod. I know, it's supposed to be light banter, but I think we're trying to get to a better place that is, it's not that it's not funny, but it's not appropriate, possibly.
Should have had 50.
Oh shit.
Well, he almost did. He almost did. And we can't
Congrats
wait
to
to hear your
Indiana on
recap.
a good win. Great season for the Knicks.
Gracious, gracious. Gotta love it.
I don't
Go
like
ahead,
that.
go ahead, Mike.
I don't think that's enough. I don't think that's enough. I think we need emergency spaces.
You up?
I
All
don't think that's
right.
enough.
You want to come out with
Now I'm gonna take my
trumpeters and
time
shit,
so I'm well
celebrating?
thought out.
All right,
Okay, that's
all right.
appropriate. That's appropriate because you jumped out. You knew better than to say what you said.
Don't
You
go
said it.
crazy. Don't go crazy if the timestamp says Joe gives praise to Indiana and it's not there, okay?
Oh, it's gonna be in all caps, and I'm gonna put some asterisks on it for sure.
Now that I know
Timestamp.
y'all so invested in the timestamp, I might start playing timestamp games. I ain't gonna lie.
Man, I don't
Nah,
know. Look,
Don't
please.
manipulate
You're gonna be
now.
It's been
fucking
a
with the
rough
clip guys.
36 hours, man.
You
Please don't.
you know you're gonna be fucking with the clip guys. The clip guys will, like if the timestamps are off, they actually have to listen to the full pod before they clip the shit.
That's the real
Right.
problem we can't ever talk about. Is that we
Well,
don't be really talking about the fan base. We be talking about the half of the fan base that's the clip people.
Oh, I didn't mean it. It was a joke.
hey,
It was
mm,
okay. All right.
I'm gonna bring Johnny up.
Got your
Yeah.
ass. Oh,
yo. Oh
stop.
shit.
Why you
Oh
did
fuck.
that? That I was
No.
jumping the
Michael, put the
joke.
gun
Did
down.
that.
Shout out to Johnny Clips, man.
Yeah,
Oh my
Johnny.
god.
Johnny got a good interview coming
Yo,
with
who
Capella
passed
Gray
Dash a
this
burner?
Monday. So,
Who passed Dash
check
those?
that out if you get a chance.
Yeah, Capella Gray, right? Monday.
Yep. He got Capella Gray before Joe did get him back. So, and hey, he working.
Nah.
Clips is working.
That's my man, Johnny Clips. Yo,
Good.
what's up? Welcome back. It's like a
Look at the
reunion.
Wi-Fi working.
It's the
Yay!
no, Jonna. What's going on
Good,
here?
What?
good,
All three
good
of y'all are
evening,
corrupted today.
everybody. I heard my name was called. What's going on?
Talking
Oh
about
my
your
gosh.
Capella Gray. Well, first of
Johnny.
all, we're talking about Johnny Clips. You know what I mean? And then we're talking about Capella Gray Monday, man. What the
It's
fuck?
it's
Big day for you.
it's Johnny
Yeah,
Clash.
big day, big day. I clip in for fun and for everybody to enjoy the content.
I clip for fun.
Hey Cliff.
Wait. Oh
Hey Cliff, for
shit.
fun. Did you read that off your MacBook, man?
Yo, that was
Yeah,
worse than the
I read.
Diddy apology, man. Stop
It
it.
really was.
Oh nah.
Micah.
Don't put
That's
him at the
crazy,
same
Mike.
table as Diddy. Don't do that.
No. See, this is what Joe
Terrible,
be talking
terrible
about the
comparison.
jokes. This is
Like
what Joe
the
be talking about
nature.
with the
Okay,
jokes.
the
You're supposed
nature
to
of
let
it.
it pass. Don't harp on it. Just he's
Yes, sir.
come on,
Yes, sir.
guys, please.
Pardon me. Pardon.
Yeah, but yeah, Johnny's up here. He got that going on. I'm about to bring him back down. Bye.
This is the Johnny Q&A.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move
Yo,
on.
Oh,
Dash.
that's
What we
Watch.
on the? We want to go to the Friday pod Saturday. I know we had a big discussion, or